I understand that this goes way back, even before I was even thought about. It's a lot of tradition behind it, a lot of history behind it, and for me to be able to, make my mark and, be a part of this history is a blessing to me. I mean, I'm honored to be in this position.
Here come the Irish. What a run! Touchdown! Play of the year for the Irish.
Welcome to the Indy on NBC Podcast, presented by Salesforce. I'm your host, Corey Robinson. Congratulations. Shutout victory on Senior Day. Happened to be a snow game. Can't get better than that. So now Notre Dame is 8-3. After that 44-0 victory over Boston College. I was there. It was freezing. Absolutely cold. I mean, I walked over. So for some reason, this is a bad decision. I went from the hotel downtown where I was staying to campus on foot at like 8 in. I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of like see what the players would have to deal with. It was so cold that my ears started freezing. I lived in South Bend for a few years, never been that cold before. And this was before it started snowing like crazy. Thankfully, one of my colleagues happened to drive by and gave me a ride. But wow, right then and there, I knew this was going to be a very different game plan because there's just no way you could even catch the ball. And we saw that play out beautifully with the run game. Notre Dame let me read some stats to you. We don't like to shower you with stats on the podcast, but these are, it's worthwhile. Look at this. Logan Diggs, 15 carries, 122 yards on the ground, and 1 touchdown. Audric Estime, 11 carries, 71 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chris Tyree, 6 carries, 50 yards, 1 touchdown. So in a snow game where you can't see him in front of you, the best thing to do is run the ball when the offensive line is playing the way they did. The tight ends also kicking out blocks, doing what they did. And then the running backs making people miss at the second level. That's the kind of stat line you get. So really great job. Then defensively, Benjamin Morrison, 3 interceptions. First time that's happened since Harrison Smith back in 2010, I believe. He was playing out of his mind. Very, very promising. Looking forward because he's just a freshman. So let's go ahead and look at this week. USC, big game. In order to preface this game and in order to preface Thanksgiving, we're going to talk to Chris Tyree. But first and foremost, this is a weekend to be thankful. And what better way to celebrate the holiday than with must-watch events on NBC, Telemundo, and Peacock. It all begins Thanksgiving Day with the National Dog Show, one of my all-time favorite events, and continues with Patriots versus Vikings, a special edition of SNF on Thanksgiving night. The action continues Friday with Telemundo and Peacock's Copa Mundial Spanish language coverage of USA versus England. Don't want to miss that. And to cap it all off, WWE Survivor Series War Games Saturday night on Peacock. And Green Bay taking on the Eagles on Sunday Night Football on NBC and Peacock. Catch your breath. TLDR, too long didn't read. You have a lot of stuff to watch this week. But without further ado, let's bring in Chris Tyree to talk about the running back room. He said is one of the strongest rooms camaraderie-wise among the whole team, and what he wants to do post-football, which might surprise you. He's a designer. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome in Chris Tyree to the podcast. Chris, congratulations, a shutout win against BC. Now, it's Thanksgiving break for you. Break this down for me. Break this down for everybody on the pod. What exactly do you do on Thanksgiving break? That's just because no one else is there, right?
Yeah, here on campus, it's really quiet just because everyone leaves and goes home for Thanksgiving. So, just being that we still have to be here and, we're preparing for another game on Saturday. It's really just mainly football. We're getting all our schoolwork done before, classes end tomorrow. So now that we're at that point, it's all football. It's all preparing for Saturday.
Do you like that?
I like it because, it's one less thing you have off your plate. School is really time consuming here. You have to, put a lot of time into it with homework and projects and assignments and stuff like that. So, with just that being out of the way, you can completely focus on what you have to do on Saturday and, make sure you're getting ready and getting prepared for Saturday as well. So I like it personally.
It's almost like a sneak peek into professional life in the NFL. And I guess how is that adjustment kind of going from, like you said, a very demanding school schedule to just class? I'm sorry, just film study and practice. Is that something that makes the game easier?
I mean, I enjoy it just because I love football. I've been playing it my whole life, and for me to get a sneak peek into what I dream of doing in the future is something that's really exciting for me. So, I'm not taking the opportunity for granted, and I'm trying to make sure I'm doing everything I can to be ready on Saturday.
So let's talk about Thanksgiving too, because I know that I know it's a big game, huge game against USC, but I also want to focus on that moment of Thanksgiving. Do you have any plans, just beyond what the team does? Because the team normally has like a meal, right?
Yeah. So we're all going to get together as a team on Thursday before we leave to go to California. So we're going to have something to do for Thanksgiving. It's not like we're just going to be by ourselves sitting in our dorms or our apartments all alone. So I think it's a good opportunity for us, to come together as a family once again and, just appreciate everyone that we have in our program.
Do you have I know each position group kind of has like a tradition. What is like the running back tradition on a week-to-week basis beyond just Thanksgiving week?
I wouldn't say we have one that's like really distinct in comparison to other positions, but I mean, we're a really close-knit group. I mean, from me being the oldest guy in the room all the way down to Jabron that just got here. I would say we're probably at the top of the list in terms when it comes to, just having a really close-knit, tight-knit group in one position. So I would argue that we had, the best camaraderie on the team as a position group.
One of the things that I love seeing, just like the development from an 18-year-old wide-eyed freshman. I mean, you got a lot of time too as a freshman. You got to play in a lot of games to now being, like you said, the grizzled veteran. You're the oldest guy in the room. How has that transition been for you?
It's been great. I still remember the very first day I got here when I got my book bag and I'm looking at it like wide-eyed, like, oh my God, I'm here. But just being the veteran in the room and being the guy that people look to and. Anytime anybody has a question about really anything that's going on campus in terms of school, football, or even just life in South Bend, it's something that I've learned from others as well. I feel like the leaders, when I first got here, did a really good job of, showing me the ropes and, making sure I'm doing what I'm doing while I was younger. And, just the routines that I've built and the people that I've learned from have done a really good job. And I feel like they made it easier for me to, give some knowledge to the younger guys that are coming in too. So I give props to everybody that was here before me.
Who were the couple of the guys that really taught you the ropes, took you under their wing?
I was really close with Jafar Armstrong and Kyron Williams when I first got here. Those were the guys that that were showing me the ropes, making sure I was in the right spots, making sure I was doing what I was doing. So I give props to them.
When you think about the standard that they taught you, that they passed on to you, and then now the standard that you're setting in that running back room, how do you add your own twist to it? Because there is that Notre Dame tradition, there is that Notre Dame running back room tradition, but there's also like everyone has their own unique leadership style. So how do you add your twist?
Yeah, I would say I try to make it a competition. I'm a really competitive guy, and I realize that everyone in the room is as well. So I feel like we really show it in our play on Saturdays, just how what's the word I'm looking for? Violent and competitive. We're running. Not even when we're getting the ball. I mean, every play we're competing to the best of our ability. So that play that you see on Saturdays is something that we work on every single day. That's the environment we have in the room, and I feel like that's what's gotten us so far this season.
Coming up, you have USC, and this game is a really special rivalry. I'm curious, what does the USC Notre Dame rivalry mean to you?
It means a lot, just being that I can represent the brand, I can represent the monogram. I'm blessed to be in this position, and I understand that this goes way back, even before I was even thought about. It's a lot of tradition behind it, it's a lot of history behind it, and for me to be able to make my mark and be a part of this history is a blessing for me. I mean, I'm honored to be in this position.
When you think about the position that you're in, like you said, wearing the monogram, I would be very curious to know, when you think about Notre Dame, generally speaking, Notre Dame tradition, how would you describe that to a freshman coming in? Like you said, you remember the first time you had that book bag. If you were going to break it down, this is what Notre Dame is. How would you do that to an incoming freshman?
Yeah. From the time that I've been here, I would say Notre Dame is a place where, you have everything that you need. It's not really like a flashy, glitz and glamour place. We're in the middle of the South Bend. It's cloudy probably like 75% of the year. But, no matter what you're doing on campus, it's all about the work. And it's all about, making sure that you're in a good place in the future. And that's one of the reasons why I came here. I mean, there's so many resources, so many great people that can, help you and get you where you want to be in the future. That's what I would say about Notre Dame. It's a place where, you have everything you need at the end of the day.
This podcast is presented by Salesforce Customer 360, the world's #1 customer relationship management platform. At work or on field, teamwork leads to amazing things. Unite your marketing, sales, commerce, service, and IT teams around a single shared view of every customer so they can work together and wow at every opportunity. Learn more at salesforce.com/customer360. On the podcast, we talk about football, yes, but we also are interested in, the student athlete, you as an individual. So where do you want to be in the future? What are you interested in?
Yeah, so right now I'm a design major. It's really concentrated in visual communications. So I really see myself doing like some kind of content creation or some kind of graphic design for any kind of, big company or organization. I like creating things. I like making things that look good to the public. So if I can do anything related to that's what I would be doing.
When did you start first designing things? Like as a little kid or something?
I really just had an eye for making if a book was in the wrong place, I would I'm kind of like OCD to keep it simple. But yeah, if I can translate that mindset and put it into something that I can do schoolwork in, I decided to do it, and I've enjoyed it so far. So,
when some of those majors like architecture or studio art, I'm not sure if design's the same way. You have to have a portfolio. Have you done any cool projects that you really got excited about during your time at undergraduate at Notre Dame?
Yeah, I did a lot this past semester in the summer. I'm not really doing any kind of studio art right now, but I have a lot that I did this past summer and this past spring as well. So.
What did you do?
I can try to find the stuff for you. I did a lot of in any kind of designing where you had to do a magazine board or a poster board, trying to make things that interest you and just make it look good to the public so that it can catch their eyes and possibly make someone else interested in what you were trying to create. So.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. So now let's talk about campus life. So what traditions stand out to you as being really special at Notre Dame?
Would you say outside of football or just in terms of everyday
whatever
life?
you want to do, man.
I remember, I don't do it as much. I'm slacking on my traditions, but every Thursday we would go out to this Asian restaurant. It's called Creation. We would just go out there anytime we were getting ready for a game or getting ready to travel. We would just go there, eat as a team. It was a group of maybe 4 or 5 of us. We go there every Thursday and just really just hang out, eat some food, have a good time.
Nothing beats that. We when I was there, we had a spot too. It was another Asian spot that had great Chinese food. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So can you help me understand the balance of academics and football when you get into finals? Because coming up, right? After USC, you're looking at a bowl game. Peel back the curtain for us. What is that like preparing for big games when you also have finals?
Yeah. Well, the way I do that is, anytime I have schoolwork that's, due really soon, or if I have to do anything that's really important, I get that knocked out immediately so that I don't have to worry about it towards the end of the week when I'm really focused on football. You know how it was here, and when you get to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's really just focused on football. So when you get to that time of the week, it's really hard to get your schoolwork done and focus on the game plan and getting ready for Saturday as well. So I try to knock everything out at early in the week so that I don't have to worry about it later.
And so we always like to end some interviews with the lightning round. So I'm just going to pitch some ideas to you, and all you got to do is just give me the first thing that comes to your mind. So don't think about it too much. This is not super hard. It's not a final.
Okay.
This is fun. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
My favorite training exercise is blank.
Power clean.
Oh, nice. A bucket list vacation spot is blank.
Hawaii.
My coffee or smoothie go-to order is?
Bahama Mama from Tropical Smoothie.
Oh, wow. Last show or movie you watched was?
Blood and Water.
And favorite Notre Dame tradition of all time is?
Oh my God. Player walk.
Why do you love the player walk so much?
It really gets you into the atmosphere even before you get into the stadium. You get to see all the fans that's, getting there watching you walk by. I get to see my family while I'm there as well. That's really the biggest thing for me, just getting yourself into that environment and just appreciating where you are.
Thank you so much, Chris. Hey, best of luck this weekend. Safe travels and happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well.
Make NBC Sports Predictor a pregame ritual every week. Play Irish Pick'em for free and have a chance to win $10,000 each week. Rush the end zone and download NBC Sports Predictor app today on the App Store and Google Play Store. Thanks, Chris. So this is one of the biggest rivalries. I mean, you heard it from Chris. This is one of the biggest rivalries in all of college football. USC, Notre Dame. Notre Dame sitting at number 13, and USC sitting at number 5. They just narrowly escaped a top matchup versus UCLA. What does this mean for you and I as Notre Dame fan? Beyond this incredible epic rivalry, it means that Notre Dame's in a pretty good spot here to actually get into a pretty decent bowl game. We'll find out the bowl fate December 4th. But more important than that, if you're into, let's say, maybe revenge, or if you're into one of those concepts or words, I think Notre Dame could spoil USC's season. And in a rivalry matchup, last game of the year, I mean, does it get any better than that? So Notre Dame can play spoiler against a historic rival. You got to understand, though, USC opens as a 6.5-point favorite. But as we know, this does not get translated, in the odds. The fact that Notre Dame is super hot against hot teams and super cold against cold teams, and USC is a super hot team, I think you could see a repeat of what we saw versus Clemson, which would be great news for Notre Dame fans. Next episode is going to be the last of the season, unfortunately. So what we're going to do is we're going to look back, provide a season in review. We're going to look at Michael Mara's historic season. Once again, one of my all-time favorite football players to come to Notre Dame because he's a football player. The guy just loves to play football and doesn't get any better than that. Marcus Freeman's first year, where he fell short, where he succeeded, where there is room for optimism and hope going into next year and the bowl game, and much, much more. Be sure to download and subscribe to the Notre Dame on NBC Podcast on the NBC Sports YouTube channel and wherever you get your audio podcasts. Go Irish.